It is 6:30 p.m. Monday, January 9th, and this is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Kearney Planning and Zoning Commission. If everyone would please stand and recite the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
David, have you called the roll?
Yes, Shirley is not here today. Doyle Riley and Kent Porter are absent. We do have a quorum for the meeting tonight.
All right, thank you. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda, which consists of the approval of minutes from the November 14th, 2022 meeting.
And make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Maybe I misunderstood how it was written in there about that plant that y'all talked about last week. Concrete plant, did we deny it?
Yes.
Okay, all right. That was the only question I had.
Okay.
Did we find another, options for them? Is that a better question for later?
We don't have an answer for that, though. They pulled the application prior to the Board of Aldermen hearing. But I think they did get the message that people aren't necessarily against that being in town. It's just where is a good location for them that could fit in the neighborhood.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor? Aye. All right, next item on the agenda is new business, the code amendment, the amend zoning for marijuana facilities, and it is also a public hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll want to open a public hearing.
Do you have
A few staff comments, not
Okay.
too much. The staff report is pretty short. It kind of explains the situation. Recreational marijuana was approved by voters in November. A pretty quick turnaround to get things changed so that we would comply with state codes and ordinances. And so there's an amendment here that helps establish, well, one, we modify definitions for the different marijuana facilities and then establish the zoning for the new terminology that the state has. So we don't use really medical marijuana now. We use marijuana dispensary, so we need to update that. And then establish those uses in our zoning. We kind of matched what we did previously for the medical with the new. There is a change, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, but staff recommends that, well, we've got dispensaries listed as a permitted use in industrial districts and commercial district. All other marijuana uses are more industrial type, so your food processing, where they infuse it into different products, and cultivation facilities would be permitted uses in the industrial district. Staff did recommend that we add dispensary as a permitted use in the C1 neighborhood commercial district. Thought there is there are uses in the neighborhood commercial district that would be more impactful to neighbors, such as a gas station convenience store is permitted in that zoning district. Vehicle repair is allowed in that zoning district. Drive-throughs are allowed. So some of those uses would be more impactful to neighbors, either for noise or hours of operation or light than a dispensary would. I thought it was appropriate to include it in the C1 district as well, because they're kind of almost like an office. You know, Brian Kelling's, that's where we have a local dispensary right now for the medical marijuana. Kelling's office on Flat Clay Way. We've not gotten complaints that I'm aware of. No reports there of any activities, police response. So my recommendation would be to add that at C1 as well. Aside from that, staff recommends approval of the ordinances written in the packet. It was prepared by a city attorney. We kind of looked at it and provided a few comments, but it was prepared by the attorney, complies with state ordinances. We don't address the separation, the 1,000-foot separation. That's a state statute, so when they go through their permitting through the state, they've got to meet that requirement. So we didn't specifically add that in the zoning. We're just establishing the definitions and the uses and what zoning districts they're appropriate for. And there's a public hearing to be held too.
Okay.
So you want to open the floor.
I will. Are you done?
Mhm.
Okay, then we will go ahead and open the public hearing. If you are, there's no one in the building, so if you are online and would like to speak, raise your hand.
That leaves Ryan.
We've got Ryan.
Okay. Ryan, do you have anything you would like to add?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, thanks. All right, seeing no one here, then I will close the public hearing and open it up for commission discussion.
As of right now in the medical, we've only got the one establishment. Now, does he have to apply for another any other kind of license or anything?
I believe they are allowed to continue as medical marijuana only. If they want to become what's called a comprehensive, where they can sell recreational and medical, they do have to get a permit from the state to do
The
that.
state, is there another permit they have to get through the city?
No, there is not. We didn't issue a permit other than a business license. We would issue a standard business license like we do everybody else, but we don't have additional requirements. That was part of the state, the medical marijuana state statutes. We couldn't put additional burden on them that we wouldn't put on another business.
Now, does the city get any tax revenue off of the medical marijuana?
I can't answer that. I don't know how to answer that question.
There's
Will-
no
Sheila
will-
might be walking by.
Will the-
Sheila, are you aware of that?
We do.
Is there a normal sales tax?
on
Is
the
there an
medical.
extra sales tax on the medical? Okay.
There will be.
I can't see.
No.
It has to be
There isn't on the
passed.
medical?
Yeah.
There is a regular sales tax on medical, and if the voters approved the additional 3%, it would be on medical and it would be on all marijuana sales at retail.
Now, is that just a state, or
No,
does
the
the city
city.
get anything?
The city would
The
get
city
3%.
The city would get, if the voters approve in April, the additional 3%, the city would get that.
Okay.
Currently, the city doesn't get any additional, only the state gets the additional right now. But we do get regular sales tax
From that.
from that.
Thank you.
Here's what.
And then you mentioned something about convenience stores, and maybe I got a little confused in
Okay.
that. They won't be selling it, will they?
No.
Okay,
No, no.
I just want to clarify in
Oh.
my head.
All I was doing was if there was right now in the medical marijuana, dispensaries are permitted use in C general commercial,
Okay,
not in C1. We should have paid attention, maybe added it back then, didn't think of it, just did the general C commercial, but I believe that it would be appropriate in C1, and so that was my recommendation, and I want to identify other uses that might be more impactful to neighbors or to the public than what a dispensary probably would be.
okay.
Can you give us some examples of neighborhoods that are,
Like where we have C1 zoning.
versus the neighbor, yeah.
C1 zoning came about with our last comprehensive plan. We added it. Everything prior was all zone C, so we don't see much rezone. A lot of our commercial zoning is the straight C highway commercial zoning.
Okay,
There have been a few things that have come through, and staff has recommended that they switch to a C1 because the property, it's commercial, but it's not out by the interstate. A good example would be Siler's commercial building down at
Along
19th Street. They rezoned, went through rezoning from multifamily to C1 neighborhood commercial. And so right now we have a C1 zoning there rather than straight C highway commercial.
And C1's a little more restrictive.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Not a whole lot. I say not a whole lot because what you think of in C commercial would be like a drive-through, like a Dairy Queen. Well, you could do Dairy Queen in neighborhood commercial. So
But
at
you couldn't-
Siler's, he could have a little let's say Starbucks wanted to locate one of the tenant spaces and have a little drive-through around that building. They could do that in C1 zoning.
but you couldn't put a Walmart in a
You can't.
C1.
Right.
Okay.
Or a truck stop. Not that
Right.
the property's big enough, but no
Right.
truck stop doesn't belong there, not that they would, but
Mhm.
if the zoning allows it, then there's always a possibility that they could do that at some point in time.
Okay. Any more questions?
No, I'm
Okay.
good.
Any other discussion?
Is there restrictions on what these businesses can sell? Is it strictly marijuana products?
It would be per the state, through the state, so
The
whatever
answer
they
to
be
that
permitted.
is, it's marijuana products, they can sell, the devices and tools to use them. Most of them don't because it's not their forte. The KC Cannabis does, but they're about to stop. Because in that world, the credit card industry hates us. We pay exorbitant fees. They don't, most of them, if they find out that you sell cannabis or anything related CBD, they'll pull your merchant processing like overnight.
I imagine that's
Oh, yeah.
probably related to federal
Yeah,
law
that's
where it's
really
not
It's,
allowed.
it is
federal.
still, even CBD is still a Schedule 1. And so it all flows into the whole FDIC thing and banking and so on and so forth. I just, 2 years ago, lost a bank account here in town. They called me and said, do you sell CBD? I said, I do. I said, it makes up about 2% of my sales and my deposits. We don't want your business anymore. Okey dokey. I mean, it's that weird. So they can't, most of that stuff's kind of expensive. And like all of the marijuana is handled with cash.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing credit cards with that. And I guess apparently they got caught and are losing their credit card. So for the most part, this one here in town and the one in Excelsior will just be selling marijuana product.
But they can't, can they sell stuff like a convenience store would?
They probably, I don't know, I doubt it.
I'm
well,
just curious. It
I mean,
makes
they
a difference to
can,
me
but
when-
it would, I mean, they've gotta, you can't walk in the building or you can't get past the gated entry without a marijuana card, or, I mean, you couldn't. You'll be able to now, because there's not gonna be any cards.
Probably still have to show your ID.
Yeah, you still got, so it's a 21 regulated place, and honestly, they're not gonna be selling, I mean, they're gonna be selling candy bars, but they're not gonna be those kind of candy bars.
Or do they want to take some of their more expensive product off the shelf and
Yeah.
put, Cheetos or something, I guess.
I was just curious.
I would say they probably technically could, would they? Probably not. They're probably gonna just stay
Yeah.
focused on the marijuana portion of the job, because you've gotta have a permit to go in. Yeah, you gotta have a.
Well, but you're not gonna, you can't sell to 16-year-olds anyway, so you can't have them in the building, so.
Right.
Yep.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to pass the amendment to the zoning order
Second.
with staff comment.
Oh, there was a race second.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you got with the staff comments, right? Okay. All right. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. There being no old business, do we have anything for commission discussion this evening? No?
I see the duplexes are being started.
Oh, really?
Demolition, yeah, we issued a demolition permit for the house on the corner. There were still some things they were doing on the other building, but they're prepping.
Interesting, I wondered if it was even gonna happen.
Yeah, so I was
That's
worried about too, but I think they might have found somebody to help finish out their financing with them and can move forward on it, so it'll be
That's great.
pretty good.
Yeah,
And Arby's is on the way?
yeah.
Starbucks is on the way.
Starbucks is on the way?
It looks close.
And do you know, do they have to come in and get an occupation license, right? Or no?
For, well, any of
Businesses.
those, yeah, any of those do, yeah.
So we don't,
I don't know about the Arby's, But the Starbucks, they've got, so Star Development was doing the parking and building shell. And then another contractor will come in after they are done to finish out the interior. And I think Star's contractor's finishing up the building here within probably now the next couple of weeks. And then
They just
they
striped
plan
the
to be
park.
finished by March with the interior, so.
Good,
Kind of the target's their middle of March. for that.
good deal.
Arby's, I don't know, it's, they'll just,
Still looks like a
they'll
wooden
just.
shell.
Yeah.
I would,
This is probably, I mean, it's not just more for my information. Are we still on target with the interchange?
Mhm.
Good,
I don't know anything different.
all right, awesome.
just growing up.
I know. Okay, anything else?
No.
If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned.